have gone over my allotted time, so I will now recognize Ranking Member Marshall for 5 minutes.
Okay, thank you, Chairwoman. I want to talk about a little bit about globally, some of the global challenges that we have. In particular, I'm always interested to know if our scientists are talking to scientists from other countries, specifically China, India, Russia, Japan, Brazil. Is there any interaction between what we're doing and some folks from there? Have any of the four of you had interaction with scientists from other groups working on solving this problem that we have together? This is a world challenge, obviously. Dr. Bell does.
Definitely. Yeah, working with Nautilus for many years, we worked all over the Mediterranean region, and so therefore working with scientists from all of those countries. And one really exciting opportunity coming up is the UN Decade of Ocean Science for Sustainable Development, which is sort of ideas are coming together right now to launch for 2021 to 2030, and I think that's a huge opportunity to work with like-minded scientists from all over the world.
Will China and Russia participate in that?
I believe that there were scientists from China at the first global planning meeting that was just held 2 weeks ago in Denmark. I don't know if Russia was represented there, but that was just the first planning meeting, and regional meetings are being planned for the next year. So
India, Brazil, would they most likely be there?
I would have to check.
Is there anything that we can do to promote those relationships and work on this challenge together?
Absolutely. There are several members of the executive planning group for the UN Decade that are from the U.S. Craig McLean, most notably, who's the acting chief scientist of NOAA. So I would definitely talk to him first about who from those countries have been represented so far and who might be in the future. There will be several regional planning meetings coming up in the next year, and I believe that Brazil might be one of the hosts of those. But I'd be happy to get back to you.
Okay. Anybody else with interaction with other scientists? Mr. Barrett?
No, ours really is through, we're a global company, but our interaction is always through our customers traditionally in the global stage.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I just wanted to add to the remarks from Dr. Bell that there's also the Seabed 2030 project, which is an initiative from the Nippon Foundation in Japan, and it's a global initiative to try and map the entire ocean seafloor by 2030, and so that's another opportunity to engage and collaborate with the nations that you've mentioned. Schmidt Ocean Institute also looks to international collaborations, and we have hosted many scientists from multiple countries collaboratively on our research vessel for different projects, including some of the countries that you had mentioned.
Okay, so certainly my learning curve on oceanography right now is like this, and I'm back here, so forgive me if this is an ignorant question. But as I think about the function of the ocean, removing carbon gases and then restoring oxygen from all the plankton and that we have around the world, is that all done in the top 10 or 20 meters of water? Or is there plants down lower that are doing that as well in your research?
So the actual photosynthesis that's happening is being done in the top layers where sunlight can penetrate through the water. But the ocean circulates on a global level from sea surface down to deep waters. So it's a very interconnected system. I am not an expert in that particular field, but the carbon dioxide that's being used by plants is happening in the top layers.
So are there any innovation opportunities down deeper to help promote that photosynthesis that's going on above? And I think that's what you're starting to go in that direction a little bit.
Do you want? I have one interesting fact about whales. That whale defecation actually is a huge input of carbon to those systems to support plankton, which then are the basis of, for example, fisheries and other. It's a very.
I hope they're not releasing any methane
system.
gas. Okay, Dr. Reiner, go ahead.
I just wanted to add to that that we still don't fully understand those relationships, and that is why exploration and research is so important, is to better characterize these very specific to better characterize how these interactions take place and looking at these small ecosystem relationships and how they are interconnected.
Okay. Anybody else?
I would add the perspective of someone who's also relatively new to the ocean exploration enterprise and ocean science. And the thing that was most surprising to me over the past decade has been realizing just how little we know and how much we're actually at the beginning of starting to understand these kind of systems and how much progress can.
So I need to yield back, but I think we keep the goal in mind. If our goal is to innovate as opposed to just researching for research.